Hello everyone, I'm Joe Iannuzzi, a drum instructor at Drumland, and I will be showing you a drum fill phrasing idea that I teach my students. Now that we've played the exercise at 60 beats per minute, let's take that musical phrase and incorporate it into our time playing. So what we are going to do is we are going to play 3 bars of time, a basic drum beat. It can be anything really. So you can take a basic rock beat of your liking and play 3 bars of that basic rock beat, and then play our drum fill, our 6 plus 6 plus 4 drum fill on the 4th bar, and then you can come back to the top of the 4-bar phrase by crashing on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now that we've developed some familiarity with playing 3 bars of time followed 1 bar of drum fill, we are going to take the drum fill and we're going to move it around the drum kit now and orchestrate it around the kit to come up with some different tonal colors and some different tonal patterns. So first off, we're going to play the drum fill at quarter note equals 80 beats per minute, and we're going to count 16th notes throughout, and we're going to move the drum fill around the kit using parallel motions where the hands are moving parallel to one another clockwise around the drum kit. So we're going to take the first 6-note grouping and play it on the snare drum, the second 6-note grouping on the high tom, and the 4-note grouping on the mid tom. And then you'll notice I'm going to be playing the exercise for 4 measures. So in the second bar, I'm going to be starting on the floor tom, then playing the next 6-note grouping on the snare, and then the 4-note grouping on the high tom. And I'm pretty much going to cycle that around the kit for 4 measures. Now you can experiment with this and come up with different ways of orchestrating the hand part around the kit clockwise using parallel motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, carrying on with parallel motion, it's also a good thing to start. Once again, we're starting on the snare drum, but this time we're moving the musical phrase around the kit using counterclockwise motion rather. So, you can play your first 6-note grouping on the snare, move over to the floor tom, move over to the mid tom, and cycle that around the kit for 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's move on to something known as oblique motion. Now oblique motion involves one hand essentially remains stationary, fixed on one sound source. So in this instance, the left hand part will remain on the snare drum, and then I'm going to move my right hand around the drum kit, going clockwise or counterclockwise, and in this case I can incorporate hi-hat and tom-tom or the bell of the ride cymbal. So use your imagination in this instance, but always keep in mind the musical line that the right hand accents create. So you've got to pay close attention to that when you're moving the right hand around the kit in oblique motion. 1, 2, 3, 4. next form of oblique motion, we're going to place our right hand on the ride cymbal, and we're going to keep it fixed there, playing the accented musical line, and we're going to move the left hand around the drum kit clockwise or counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the third method of orchestrating the drum fill involves something known as contrary motion, where the hands are moving in opposite directions around the drum kit. Okay, so you'll just have to experiment with this. Just bear in mind the musical line that the right accents create. So we need to keep that in mind as we're moving the hands around the kit, using these circular motions, moving in opposite directions. 1, 2, 3, Next, I will demonstrate playing 3 bars a time and 1 bar fill using parallel motion. And following that, I will demonstrate playing 3 bars a time plus 1 bar fill using oblique motion. And then lastly, I'll demonstrate playing 3 bars a time followed by the 1 bar fill using contrary motion. Now that we've explored playing time and moving the drum fill around the kit through using different motions and orchestrations, I'd like to just leave you with one more little idea, and this is we're just kind of covering the brunt of this particular idea, and this idea is known as over the bar line phrasing. So for instance, I was playing the phrase and I was always coming out on beat 1 in each example. Try experimenting with extending the phrase into the first bar of the 4-bar phrase. So in other words, as you play your drum fill over bar 4, instead of coming out on beat 1, come out on the end of the 1. Essentially, all you have to do is you're just playing the first 3 16th notes of the 6-note grouping, the right, left, right. And you'll notice that that second right, I'm crashing it either on the crash cymbal or shanking the ride cymbal or playing off the bell. So that's a nice way to kind of move over the bar line with it and still retaining the time nonetheless, and playing that backbeat on 2 and 4 as you come back to the time. So I'd like to just demonstrate some of those examples for you now. In closing, we just explored this really interesting concept of taking various note groupings such as the 6 and the 4 and combining it to come up with a musical phrase. But it's also important to take these musical ideas and personalize them, make them your own. And through that, you can start to develop a unique artistic voice as a drummer. So the thing to keep in mind when you're working on these exercises is make music with these exercises. Extend your thinking beyond the fact that these exercises are numerically constructed. The important thing is when you're working with these exercises or you're improvising with these exercises is to think of and hear and even sing the musical line that the right hand accents create. That's extremely important when you're working on these exercises and when you're actually applying them to music, when you're using them in a practical musical setting, perhaps playing in your original rock band or your original metal band or in a jazz setting. So in order to play musically, we have to think musically. We have to think musically at all times. So it's important, like I said, to sort of stretch your thinking beyond the numerical construction of this particular musical phrase and get inside the musical line that the right hand accents create. If you have any questions regarding anything, you can contact Drumland and you can reach me, and we can continue to grow and develop and nurture this musical community. Thanks for watching.